Hello, everybody. Today is Monday. It's Memorial Day, I believe it's the 30th. Welcome to Tracy Takes On. You'll notice I'm in a different location um, in the apartment than I am. So that's why you see that ring light back there because it's a reflection. Just want to get all the commercials out of the way. First of all, please hit that like button. Um, please hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it. September the 3rd, we're sponsoring Tracy Media Entertainment is sponsoring a virtual scavenger hunt. It's at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The cost is just $15 and all the money goes to help me to get better equipment. You can also support our campaign to help us with our future endeavors. You can also be our Patreon. And you can find all these links on the website, tracymediallc.com. Let's see who has checked in. Hello, Anna. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to keep this show very short. Um, Hopefully, I don't go past 30 minutes. So let's just see how well I can do. Of course, I got to talk about the elephant in the room. I didn't really go on vacation. Last week I had a lot of personal items to take care of. And so I decided not to take Monday. I decided not to take Thursday. I decided not to take Saturday so I could get that all taken care of. And that week, it just seemed like there was mass shooting after mass shooting after mass shooting. It started off in Buffalo um, with a, white nationalist terrorist killing, going online and purposely finding a black area of the city and going to kill them. Then you had some parishioners in a church that were killed in California. And of course, you have, and I'm just skipping them all because it's beginning to get depressing. Um, and then, of course, you have the most recent one. Oh, let me take that back. You had the one where 19 children were killed in, I hope I pronounced this right, Uvalde, Texas. Um, And apparently there's been another mass shooting today. And I, sometimes I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to say. And I have so many feelings. Everything from, outlaw guns to why do we keep letting this happen? We keep letting this happen. And if you and I don't like it. Well, I will in this case because it makes sense. When you compare the US to other countries, they have literally maybe 4 shootings in a whole year. We're up to like what 232 or something like that. And it's I don't understand it. What about our country makes us more violent than other countries? I don't get it. I don't understand why guns are so easy to get. I don't understand why we can't have a universal background check. Actually, I do understand it, and I'll get to that portion in a moment. But we on the medium or the average, we have more mass shootings than pretty much any country on earth. And it's shameful. It's literally shameful. And I don't know why that discussion isn't happening more. And obviously we want to focus on, condolences to the families that lost their loved ones. That's horrible. But we have to start asking ourselves, why is it that a 17-year-old could ask his sister to buy a gun, and she refuses it. He goes into chat rooms, and no one says, "Hey, this is weird." But then, what can you do because you have police that are just inactive, and it's just frustrating. Thank you, Anna. It's just I don't understand it. I don't understand why this country is so violent. Even not even mass shootings. We were one of the top leaders in domestic violence. We're one of the top leaders in school violence. It's like every violent category, America is like right at the top of it. And it's ridiculous. Yes, Anna, he was 18 when he bought the gun. But when he was 17, I think it's when he asked his sister to buy a gun for him. I may be getting my timelines wrong. Um, and that could very well be the case. But to talk about the one in Buffalo first, um, this was definitely someone that just did not like people of color. No, let me backtrack that. He didn't like black people. His whole reason for getting online and searching a place was this whole thing called white replacement theory. And I'll explain it to you. So, what white replacement theory is when people believe that because of immigration, um, the races intermarrying, that's going to dwindle the white race. And that's going to make their numbers go down. Hello, sis. And I don't know if they're looking at the population, but their theory has two problems. One, white people are still like 67 or 66% of the current population. And even if they were right, which I'm not 1,000% certain they are, who's trying to replace you? I mean, are you really that insane? Again, I just don't. I should be done trying to understand people, and I'm not, because I keep asking myself why, and I just can't answer it. Exactly, and that's the thing. And we were just over the Buffalo situation. Then we had California where churchgoers were shot. Then we move on to Texas. Now, I want to spend some time on this Texas one because there's a whole lot to unpack on that. You had a 18-year-old who worked at Wendy's or McDonald's or where it was he worked, and he was able to buy a gun on credit. Obviously, he must have used his parents' credit to get this credit card with the intention of, I'm never paying this back, whatever. He goes in the school and he's in there for an hour. The police are standing right outside and they're intimidating the people who are outside more than they're trying to go in to get the shooter and to make sure the children are okay. I don't understand why this police department, why are they um, still employed? I don't know with them or the SWAT team or the FBI or whoever it was. It's a total failure. You literally could have, and they had a resource officer on file at the school, and that didn't work. I don't know whether the resource officer was armed or not armed, but that's a whole different discussion. When you go to rescue your own children, before you think about other children, why did you sign up to be in law enforcement? What were you thinking? Like you just thought, okay, this will be good. I'll just sign up and I'll do nothing. What did you think you were signing up for? You're supposed to protect and serve. You didn't protect, you didn't serve, and 19 children and 2 teachers are dead. It's literally, it's making me scratch my head about why. Why was that person allowed to just walk into school um, with no kind of anything? And I thought when you went to school, they have to buzz you in and let you in, but I just don't. Exactly, Anna. Exactly. Why did the SWAT team let the local cops stop them? There should be definitely an investigation into that because their response, it was so unnecessarily incompetent. It did not have to happen like this. That killer should have been stopped. It shouldn't have taken an hour. It should not have taken an hour. They should have went in, moved in, if necessary, take them out, and then go from there. But instead, they sat outside. They arrested the parents for some reason. They had one mother handcuffed to the ground, but they couldn't go in, and they had armor. That's the other thing. They had armor and weapons, but they didn't move. And what's that? What's with that? Again, somebody's going to have to explain that to me because I'm just not understanding. One, what did you sign up for? Like, what is it that you thought you were going to be doing as a law enforcement official and you stopped the SWAT team? Why didn't somebody from the SWAT team say, hey, no, we've got, children in here whose lives are in danger and just left? What were they going to do? They're going to do something? No. I mean, if you look at fire departments, they go into burning buildings all the time. All the time. I have never heard of defund the fire department. Nobody says that because they know what they signed up for. Apparently, these people, either they just thought this was like Mayberry where there's one shooting a year or something, and it just makes me scratch my head because I'm like, you stop the SWAT team and the SWAT team just listen? Don't they have like rank over the police department? I don't understand the hierarchy. Um, let's see. He needs to join the unemployment line. That's where he needs to join. Oh, he won that seat 3 weeks before. Still, um, there's no explaining it. There's really no explaining it. But at the root of the problem is the laws in Texas. Why is it that somebody as young as 13 can buy a weapon? You have to be 18 to vote and serve in the military. You have to be 25 to rent a car. But at 13, you can buy a weapon? Are you serious? And we just look at those things. Oh, hello, Marlon. We look at those things and we wonder, in a nation where we have more guns than people, why we have so many shootings. And thank you, Anna. It's 21 to drink, and I said 18. But you have to be all those things, but yet 13 buy a weapon, and they don't do background checks. Like, at least, the least you could do is a background check. I know that people say, I know Greg Abbott has reportedly taken up to $20 million from the NRA, but there's other people in that state and in other states like it that are just as responsible as he is. He can't pass a bill. He can't sign a bill unless someone um, proposes it. It has to go through, I'm assuming, the Texas House and the Texas Senate, and then he signs it. So whoever thought, you know what, we don't need a background check. Nope. Let them be 13. Let them be 12. Next thing you know, somebody will probably propose a law that has 5-year-olds buying guns. It's ridiculous to me that people in those type of states, and mine included, we haven't had enough. We haven't had enough. And I live in a state like that. That's why I said we, because I live in a state where there's no background check. You do have to be 18, not 13, but still, same thing. And a lot of people from Chicago come to Indiana to get their guns because, again, there's no background check. Hello, Mickey. I rarely see you here. Oh, I know I'm seeing you here today, but hello, Mickey, and hello, Marlon. Um, and you think about the influence, and this is where, I wish there were more of a response from the other side. And yes, I'm gonna teeter on what are the Democrats doing in a second. But what I'm getting at here is the NRA, National Rifles Association, recently had a convention. I think it's still going on, but I'm not 1,000% sure. And at their convention, they said you couldn't carry guns. I will repeat. The NRA, the National Rifle Association, says that you cannot carry guns at their conventions. Nobody but me finds this ironic. Nobody but me said, wait a minute, so you're saying guns are so dangerous that you don't allow them at your convention, but you'll give money to politicians to pass gun laws that essentially are not needed? I don't understand that. I don't understand why people let their local officials get away with signing these things. I know that something has to change. But then, unfortunately, I think that nothing's going to change. And I'll get to that here in just a moment. But I wanted to talk about another aspect, which was, I'm going to get his name right, Beto O'Rourke. So when the governor held a press conference with the mayor of the city or the town council of the city, Ted Cruz was there, et cetera, et cetera. So Beto O'Rourke burst into the meeting and basically disrupted the meeting. And there's a couple of things that I thought were ironic about this. Let's see. I agree, Hannah. So Beto O'Rourke interrupted and said, you haven't done anything. And to me, and maybe I should watch the press conference again, he seemed more angry that Beto O'Rourke was interrupting his press conference than the fact that 19 children had lost their life. He kept saying, well, don't make this about politics, but you're a politician. You're the governor. So if he's going to complain, it should be to you. You're the highest ranking person in the state of Texas. Why not make it political? It is political. And I will now get to my point about the Democrats. If they had as much fight as what Beto O'Rourke had at that event, I'd be all in. I would be all in. I'm just so tired of, well, we're not going to offer any legislation because it's not the time. When is the time? Like, how many children are going to have to die before you offer legislation, Chuck Schumer? When is it that you're going to start fighting back? and saying, you know what, we need universal background checks. This shouldn't even be a eliminate the filibuster type of situation. This should just be literally, we're going to have background checks. I don't know, and since I have 5 people here, you all can tell me. Can Joe Biden, as president, do an executive order? I don't think he can, but I'm not 100% certain. So anybody there that can tell me that, please do, because I just don't know. But like I said, he seemed so angry at Beto O'Rourke for interrupting, saying you're not doing anything, than he was about the 19 children and 2 teachers. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. He said nothing. If you watch that press conference, the whole thing before the interruption, he didn't say, this is tragic, or, well, he said it, but it seemed forced to me. And you can watch it and just tell me, comment later if you think it was forced, because I'm like, why are you so angry at him for saying that? You're making it political. You're a politician. How do you not make the fact that you let anyone over the age of 13 get weapons with no background check, no 72-hour cool-off time, no ban on assault rifles, tightening up the rules on how many weapons that you can own? It amazes me that people, the Second Amendment supporters, they want to own all these guns. You only have 2 hands. What are you going to do with those guns? So CBS says President Biden can direct executive infrastructure like the background check system to operate differently, or use trade policies to control how the guns wind up on our streets. I wonder, would he do that? I would hope so, but I'm not really holding out hope, to be honest. And I just, again, I don't understand. I don't understand. And why do we live in a nation where people feel like they have to own more than 2 guns? Like, for what? You use guns even if you're responsible. If you're a responsible gun owner, kudos to you, I guess. But you use guns, in my opinion, you either use guns for protection or when you're angry. Those are it for me. I don't see people saying, oh, well, he robbed the house, so I shot him. It's usually, oh, somebody said something cross to me, let me go get my gun. That's usually what happens. And I don't understand, again, why would you need to own an AR-15 or AK-15, whichever one he had. They're killing machines. They literally were designed to kill. They aren't designed to protect you. The British aren't coming. We need to stop with all of these things and just start doing, like I said, universal background checks. Possibly limiting the amount of ammunition that a person can own, because, like, what are you doing? Trying to open up a museum or something? Don't get it. Also, another idea that I'm not sure would get a whole lot of traction, but I thought it was an interesting idea, requiring gun owners to have insurance on their weapons. I don't know how that would, decrease the numbers of guns owned, but it seems to me when you're getting these guns so quickly, maybe you do need to have some type of insurance, and then expand the waiting time. I've heard stories of people say it took them less than 30 minutes to get a gun. Are you serious? That means I could walk into any gun shop, because I don't have a record. take a test. I'm assuming that there is a test. I don't know. I've never owned a gun, so I don't even know if there is a test. I know there's a test to drive a car, and if you don't pass it, you don't get a license. Maybe that's something that we need to do. It's require licenses to carry weapons. I don't know what the answers are, but anybody that's still listening to me, just offer, in these last 5 minutes, just offer what you think. You think I'm just being way too, out there in terms of this? And I think we can all agree, whether you agree with my stances or not, we have to do better. We can't live in a nation where every other week there's a mass shooting. Children are dying. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to worship. You can't go to work. You can't go. It has to stop. We have to do something. And, miss me with the, oh, hello, Chris. I hope the parents sue for negligence. I read the DOJ investigations, but who knows if it'll prove anything other than offense. Yep, that's what I wonder too. But like I said, there's so many things that I think that could have stopped this. Number one would be not having AK or AR-15s as weapons. That would be good. Let's just outlaw them. What do you need them for? Like, what are you hunting with an AK or AR-15 that you couldn't do with a regular rifle? Like, what are you doing? Again, I don't know if the cooling off period is in play anymore. It definitely needs to be. I think a 2-week waiting period is okay. Maybe again, that's just me. Definitely a test. Definitely some type of, are you mentally stable enough to own this gun? If you've had something, in your background, such as child pedophilia, domestic violence, maybe you shouldn't have done. Maybe you shouldn't own a gun. Maybe there should be a test. And if you don't pass it, you don't get to own a gun. Now, of course, people will say, oh, well, they'll still, I agree. And that's what I don't know. I'm just like throwing out anything because at this point, I don't know. America is so obsessed. It seems like we are so obsessed with violence. And it's like our appetites are fed off of it. And then when something tragic happens, like this situation in Texas and Buffalo and California and other places, we're all shocked. Like, how could this happen? How could it not happen? We literally live in a country where we have more guns than people. And then we're surprised when something like this happens. We need to either limit the amount of guns that we have, or unfortunately, we may have to expect more of this. And I certainly don't want more of this. And, it just has to be, if Sandy Hook wasn't enough to get people angry, I don't know what will get us angry. I think our problem is, and I'll say this with a minute to go, our problem is that if it doesn't happen to me, it doesn't matter. That was them. It'll never happen to me. Well, sometimes it can happen to you. And that's the thing. It shouldn't have to happen to me for me to care. If it happens to someone else, I should still care. Let's see. I agree, Anna. Join the army or the military. Oh, so they do have protocol. Okay. I did not know that. I thought you just bought a gun and went. Well, everybody, I appreciate you coming on with me to kind of listen to what I had to say. I know I kind of rambled on and on and on, but I knew to talking about these mass shootings was what I wanted to do. Um, so remember, everything that I've kind of said. Um, Remember to hit that like button. Definitely hit that like button. And you can visit our website at tracymediallc.com to the links for um, the scavenger hunt, the Patreon, and other things. Join me Thursday for Thursdays with Tracy and Friday for Friday game night. I will see you all later. Thank you for joining me. Have a great evening.